We have a new board member tonight, so if you're not familiar with Paper, it's an educational support system which provides students with 24/7 live help, essay reviews, and teachers with real-time feedback. The primary ways that we see it used in our classrooms are a lot of times with math support, as well as with essay writing and some of those elements. So where we're at right now with Paper, we've seen a significant increase from the initial launch. So if you look back at when we launched Paper mid-year last year, our usage from that till today about doubled. As you would expect with any new initiative, after Paper launched middle of the year last year, we saw a little bit of a wane in that, if you will. And we're actually about triple the usage from where we were at the end of last year. So it's getting utilized a lot more in the classrooms and helping to support that just-in-time piece. Some elements in terms of where we're headed with Paper. A couple of our schools have already taken on an opportunity to do what they call a Paper pep rally. So it's supported by the program. It's kind of a rah-rah, if you will, and kind of supports that usage. Principal Ridge can share with you some stuff that they did at the middle school that was pretty fun. And then some targeted use for Paper when a teacher is not available to ensure student comprehension and mastery of concepts. So really trying to build in that opportunity to use it in the classroom setting when we know that we have that issue to address where we have one teacher and 25, 30 students. This gives them access right away and not having to wait for the teacher to support them in those moments. A little bit of usage data you can see on this slide. A couple of items that I think are interesting to note. Right now, we're still seeing primarily usage during the school day. So you can see that the Monday through Friday usage peaks kind of midweek and happens a lot during the school day. Heavy usage at our middle school, and we're looking to increase that in some other areas. But about 3,217 tutoring sessions. I was at the middle school the other day, and it was kind of an interesting example of how it was used. Middle school math classroom. Teacher had the students working on their independent work time. And Ms. Ridge reminded the students, because we were actually in the room together, that, hey, we got this resource. Don't forget, you can use Paper. So the kids are like, oh, I don't have to wait for my teacher. And they hopped on and they were getting, chatting back and forth with the tutor. And I was fun because I got to observe over his shoulder as the tutor walked him through, like, well, what are you going to do first? And why would you do that? And what would that look like? And so it's kind of cool to see them walk through that process. So right now, just a couple of statistical pieces. Our top user right now is Combs Middle School. They've had about a little over 3,000 activities. Some Tier 2 usage, some other strong usage from Ranch Elementary, Ellsworth, and Combs High School. And the main subjects it's being used in right now are basic arithmetic, essay writing, and basic geometry. All those stats are fun, but it's more fun, I think, to hear the voice of those who are using it. So we have a couple of guests tonight to join us. I'll start with Combs Middle School, and we have a teacher, Jenna Brophy, here tonight, as well as one of our students. So I want to invite them up and just to share a little bit about what it looks like in the classroom setting and how they utilize it. And then we have a couple of teachers from the high school that will also share with you how they're using it as well.
I find Paper as an effective and useful app. I also enjoy the fact that it's convenient, that I get to use it when I'm like last minute studying, like a test. So I'm like asking them questions real fast. And I might mainly use it after school and some during school when I'm like afraid to ask a question. So when I use Paper, I feel like I'm not judged when I use that, and like I'm not scared to ask any questions. And I have no cons for it because I enjoy using it.
No cons, all pros.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Questions for our wonderful...
No, but I think we need to follow up on this Paper thing that he's the first one in the nation. Like, I'm thinking he needs, you need to be the spokesperson or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Thank you, Trayvon. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you so much, Trayvon.
All right, I'll try not to turn off the microphone when I move it this time and invite Ms. Brophy up to share.
Okay, so far this year, Paper has been a really valuable resource in our math classroom specifically. And campus-wide. I teach 7th and 8th grade math, so I have the opportunity to see students of both grade levels using it. At the beginning of the year, we were more using it. We would have it as like a bell work question, so give the students a couple choices and say, hop onto Paper, ask them this question, just to get them used to the process of how it works, how they're actually interacting with the human, and they have to be polite. It can't be like they're texting their friends, and just to have them used to Paper doesn't just give them the answer. So the students can't type in, what's 2 + 2? And the tutor's going to say 4, have a nice day.
Yeah.
What we really like about it at the middle school is that it guides them through it and makes them use their critical thinking skills. instead of just giving them the answer and moving them along. As the year goes on, we've been using it more in our small groups. So when we're the teachers working in small groups with students, that's a way for students on their own to, if they're not able to access us right away to answer a question, or maybe if they're nervous, don't want to get up in front of the class, they can just hop onto paper. It's automatically right on their screen in Google Classroom. So it serves as like a reminder for them that they're able to just pop on. You'll see a lot of them will have half their screen as the paper tutor and half the screen as their assignment. So they are using it to be more independent and find clarification on their own. I really like it because it kind of helps them feel more confident and like they're doing it on their own without having to rely on a teacher for help all the time. I've even actually had a couple of parents reach out to me and saying, I know there's that online tutoring program. How can they use it for their homework? So it's definitely making its way around. And I think our favorite part, like I said, is that it encourages them to think through the problems. It'll tell them, do you have any notes on this? What do you remember about that vocab word that you just brought up? Instead of just spitting out the answer, just like how we would. And it has a bunch of cool features so that, one of my concerns was, well, we have all these like crazy math problems. How are the tutors going to know what they're talking about? And they can draw on it. They can sort of draw out anything they need. The tutor can send them a little picture back. So it's very interactive, and the tutors are really good about explaining things without giving kids the answer straight off the bat. So it just helps them to use more of their critical thinking skills. And it helps us as the teachers in our larger class sizes to reach every kid every day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, we're also fortunate to have a couple of our high school teachers, Solette and Ms. Pyle, here tonight, and they'll share with you how they use it in their classroom as well.
Good evening. I think it's pretty easy to assume that paper.co is going to be really, really important for English teachers. So it absolutely is. For my students, it has helped them get a lot of feedback where, and this is how it benefits the teachers, it saves us hours of the deep feedback that that paper can give them that we would do, and it would take time to get through that. So we have the first round where that's immediately what they do with their paper. It automatically goes to paper.co before it comes to us. Then we use that as they sit down with their corrections or their feedback paper and their paper, and then we have that conversation of, okay, so what does that look like when you have to change those things to make them better? Or what do you think they mean by that? So new things that we're doing also this year is with the Portrait of a Graduate, we really want them to know how to write scholarships and do things in the career process that, they haven't really done in the past, but getting them ready, they can turn in their portfolio, their resume, their cover letters. So all of that can be turned in and getting feedback for that too. So it's good for the English teachers, for sure.
Hi, I'm up here as a social studies teacher who is helping support ELA. And I found that is one of the most beneficial things is, especially with my AP students, being able to have them turn in one of their DBQs, have those not easy, obviously, have those little specific things that I might not be grading content-wise that they're still getting in our social studies room as well as ELA. So they're getting a double dose of this paper and this feedback of, hey, maybe my grammar's a little wrong. My content's fantastic, but putting a comma in the sentence is going to mean a whole world of difference of this thesis. It's also been really beneficial, especially with those AP students, for quick feedback on a thesis. I had a fantastic coach tell me you needed to be able to tell someone to do something 3 different ways to make sure it's stuck. And with my AP students, I find, Mrs. Pyle, I don't agree with how you said my thesis is wrong. I'm like, okay, totally. Let's toss it into paper and see what happens. Paper comes back and they're like, oh, maybe adjust that or turn it into one sentence. I'm like, imagine that. But it's been great to have that instant feedback of another professional guiding these students towards better writing, both for ELA and for social study.
Thank you.